Good evening and welcome back to TLD Flyer Tyler 658 Ultimates Art Tutorials. This is TLD Flyer Tyler 658 Ultimate here, and tonight I will be showing you how to trace over a British Rail Class 66 freight train. I thought I'd show you how to do some transport. Just so you know, this will be the final episode of season 1. Season 2 will commence in October. And then again, let's just say the next episode will be a special episode. Season 2 is not actually going to be until January. But without further ado, I will show you how to draw one. Okay, is everyone ready? So first you need your picture. You know what to do. Put the photo and then add the layer over, and then we'll see how we go from there. You will need this tool called the Bza Curve Tool, which you'll probably need for like archer shapes. So we'll draw the windows first, just to be less complicated. Not quite as I expected, but it does take time. You'll have to forgive me on that. If at first you don't get the windows right the first time, like I always say, if at first you do not succeed, you must try again. Voila! As for the lights, you will need the circle tool because it's but if you want them glowing, but these are just normal lights. Let's see now. For the lights at the bottom and the buffers, you'll have so the Bza Curve Tool you might need to use for the buffers, but for the lights, the circle tool should be okay. At the end, I'll show you how to save a thing onto your hard drive, because this will be an ongoing drawing. So this will be a piece of cake or piece of pie. Yeah, so for the windows, you might want to use the Bza Curve Tool again. The reason why I'm showing you how to draw the windows, because the outside of a Class 66 train is very difficult. Because it's a diesel train, you're gonna have to. You might want to be careful the first time doing it. So for the back of the engine, it's kind of important. So you will have to try and be careful on how to use this, because this is just step by step, really. You might want to use the square tool for the window squares, and then just add a line tool after it. If you don't want to, you might want to change the size afterward. I don't know. I'll have a look. Line tool for the windows. Okay, for the air conditioning vent, where the oil comes from, you might want to do 2 squares. I wouldn't worry about the lines, because it's copyright. We won't need to worry about those. And because it's a special train, we don't need to actually do text of GB rail freight, because this will be an ongoing thing to save. It won't matter. And I'm not really adding the color today. I'm just showing you how to draw and then save, as this will be a multiple colored train. For the wheels under it, we'll come to that in just a sec. We need to draw the buffers first. This isn't like Gordon the Big Engine. As you may already know about the Thomas the Tank Engine, all engines go. We'll come to that another time. So this isn't like Diesel 10 or anyone out or Thomas the Magic Railroad. So just keep just keep that in mind when you're thinking about diesel engines. Because this is real life. I wouldn't worry about getting your diesel engines wrong the first time, if you know what I mean. Just get the lines steady when we're doing class 66. It's not like you're doing any of the diesel engines themselves. Hmm? If you're finding hard to draw over the train pulling its freight, bear in mind that we're only drawing the train itself and not its freight, so you needn't worry about anything else that goes with it. Just pretend that isn't there and just draw the side of the train. You might want to draw the lines first, just so you know where things go and whatnot. This could take an hour, this could take 45 minutes, I don't know. When you want ruining the shot or getting a clear shot. I would start on the rest of the wheels first, just to be on the safe side and whatnot. The bars, because if the driver was to be outside, just draw them anyway. But we'll give them like a different size so that we don't ruin anything. The signs on top of it, just ignore. You don't really need them either. But this is how you know if you're a beginner and you don't know what, and if you don't know if you're like a rookie, you don't know where you're at. I'd really stick to the easy stuff and go back to episode 1 so that you're not missing a thing. But if you're not, if you're a pro at this and you know how to draw it, then by all means carry on. But I would try and make sure. Something you might have to reconsider doing to make sure you get the hang of things. Yeah, so the pistons, you're going to have to be careful of also because they're part of the train, of the diesel engine. Um, I know, I don't even know whether they do have pistons, but we'll just call them that. Um, So I know some cars with diesel may have pistons, but we'll call this a piston anyway. So we'll have to draw the arches. So the diesel box, which may be at the back of the engine, we'll have to because I've not seen a Class 66 up close before. So this is all kind of new to me because it's my first time filming them. But yeah, these are called pistons. But if you do find drawing that bit of detail hard, let's just say if you do find drawing that bit of detail hard, visit your local library or ask your local UK and ask where pistons come from, or see if they'll tell you all about pistons. If you do find it difficult the first time, I would strongly recommend that you do that. Just saves, just saves a bit of trouble, doesn't it, really? Even if you don't get it right the first time, and it does take more than an hour to do, at least you're getting the hang of doing it. And it gives you an important lesson after that. Even if you have to use the line tool, it does tend to be a hell of it's be a kid's thing, but for beginners that are over the age of 15, please watch. For people under 12 years of age, do not watch this unless you're learning how to draw it properly, or just bleep out what I've just said. But I have programmed this not to make it for kids, so just have to be careful in future. It doesn't really matter how big or small you do it, just as long as you do it. That way, it's not too, difficult for you. I would strongly advise that you do go over the lines. Yeah, just to be on the safe side and whatnot. That way, you know what you're up against there. I'm not going to talk all the way through this. I'll just show you. So basically, you just need to go through the pistons, each and every one of them, the brakes and whatnot. So like I just said, you're not missing every single piece of detail. You're making sure everything does go in the right piece of detail. Yeah, diesel boxes you might want to be aware of too. So wheels we can just draw on the bottom anyway. I wouldn't worry about drawing its surroundings like traffic light. Well, the real traffic lights. Just focus on the train at the minute. But yeah, the key is never miss any piece of detail you might want to know in the future. It might come in handy someday. I wouldn't worry about missing parts of the train. if it's part of the wheels and whatnot, like the buffers, just draw one part of the buffer and then just miss everything else. Just a bit easier just to draw everything and then, you know, add the lines and see what, you know. But if you have like missed something you might have missed, the idea is not to miss that piece of scrap. It might come in handy someday. Okay, now for the shapes of the train of the diesel engine. Because these are like the smoke box, well, the buffer box, light box, and what have you. Yeah, you might want to keep note of this. When you gotta learn, you gotta learn. Eh? It's not like you're destroying the whole thing, but just to be on the safe side, eh? Okay, my apologies. Okay, we will now move on to the top of the train. We won't be adding colour this time, it's just to show you how to save this time. So, for the class 66 at the back, we'll start at the back first. You might want to use the line tool if it's something you can't zoom in straight away. You could say this could be like a polygon base, like a pentagon or a hectagon or a heptagon or a hexagon, or as we Brits say, pentagon, hexagon, heptagon, octagon. Or you guys might say octagon, but you know what I mean. But let's just say polygon bases, so we won't confuse each other. So you might want to use the line tool for part of the train so that you don't miss anything. And then use the freehand path tool for like any missing you know, advantages of the shape. So draw the you know, or you could do this like a 3D shape, like a pentagonal prism or a hexagonal prism or an heptagonal prism or an octagonal prism. An octagonal prism might be the most complicated out of the early polygon 3D shapes, such as the nonagonal prism and the decagonal prism, which are 9 and 10 sides, like a hendecahedron, or let's just say hendecagonal prism, or let's say the dodecahedron, or a well, 3D shapes might be a bit too complicated if you don't know geometry very well. Well, geometry is the only thing I know in maths pretty well, like shapes and whatnot. It's not like measures or calculations, but we'll come to that another time. Basically, it's just 3D shapes. You have to, you know what shapes you're going to use in the future. So that's something, if you're wanting to learn in the future, I'd strongly recommend it. You might want to leave those wide open spaces or narrow open spaces to draw the base of the wires. That is something, if you're not, taught, I would strongly recommend you do one line at a time. But we're almost done. All we're going to draw now is the wheels. And when we're done, I'll show you what next. So the wheels are what come next, right after everything else. These are some of the tricky parts you want to, not draw properly, but doesn't matter if they're realistic the first time. I don't draw everything realistic. It's not about giving it a better life, but just give it, what you can. At some point, we won't be using like basic shapes or basic ideas for part of the train or part of the transport, like, base shapes and whatnot. It will be a bit more complicated than before, if you catch my drift. We don't often do this because, due to safety reasons. So, like connections to the train underneath might have to being aware of if you're not really a beginner. But if you already know how to draw a train, then it shouldn't be this hard for you at all. It shouldn't be hard for you at all. If you do find this difficult, I'd strongly recommend starting from the top. It would be easier, and if it would make you comfortable, I'd strongly recommend it. Now, what are we missing here? Not aside from the wheels, but not the wheels and whatnot, but the wheels you might want a bigger size, but we'll get to that in just a sec. Okay, now we're at the wheels. You might want it on 7, just to be on the safe side and whatnot. Wheels at the back, we can remain, tracks we might be able to do after we've done this. Okay, let's see now. Wheels, rails, colors we can add at another time, like I just said before. But wheels we're almost done with. For the rails, you'll just like you would any other train, just do them like in straight lines, simple as. Just be careful not to go over them. But I would strongly recommend you use another layer if you're not, But I'll show you how to do that now. Actually, new layer. There we go. Layers of, let's see now. I would strongly recommend you start I would strongly recommend you do short rail, long rails, just so that you're not, you know. Just be careful that you're not going over them. Let's see now. You do have to be extra careful doing this kind of stuff. Or just do them short. Ah, the boy. I knew we could do it, you know. These rails say it all. So, and that concludes how to draw a class 66. Right. So, for the instructions on how to save instead of exporting, you go to File, Save As, and then call it your document. We'll make a new folder. And then we'll call it class 66 art. There we go. Just saving now. And we conclude this. Thank you for watching. You guys have a great fall or autumn, wherever you are. And I shall see you guys in October. You guys take care.